All right. Hello, everybody. I'm dealing with a few technical issues right now because life doesn't want to work for me. There we go. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kingdoms Queens podcast. We are off of week 15 in the NFL. Crazily enough, I feel like the season has absolutely just flown by, which is, I can't even believe we're entering week 16. And another week of Chiefs Kingdom, just, not, it's been a crazy week here in the Kingdom, right? To say the least.
It is, gosh.
With everything going on, between, a wolf and a bank robbery and all kinds of stuff going on. So it's been an eventful week in the Chiefs Kingdom, to say the least, but we are here. We are your Kingdoms Queens. I'm your host, Lexi.
I'm Chrissy.
I'm Jodi. Hey, y'all. All right, so I think week 15 was very interesting. Every week has been crazy, and I already can't believe that we're almost out of regular season football. Like, it's really sad. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about some of the great things. Yeah, like really sad, like depressing, actually. So let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the games last week.
So I'm just going to first off apologize real quick. Normally, two of my dogs are outside, and right now they're behind me. So if I get attacked at any point in time, or if you hear loud noises, I just apologize in advance. I'm going to cover the Dolphins-Bills game. So, this game, I think we were expecting a lot more of a snow game. The snow didn't really come in until halfway through the fourth quarter, really. But, I thought it was a very lopsided game for each team. It was a roller coaster. Like at times the Bills looked great and at times the Dolphins looked great. I feel like the Dolphins were running all over the Bills and then they just kind of stopped. They kind of pulled a Chiefs and they're like, we don't need to keep running the ball. They had 3 third and shorts in a row that they threw the ball on when they were running down the Bills' throats. Like they were getting like 7 to 8 yards per carry, the Dolphins were. And then they were just like, we're going to put it in Tua's hands. And no offense to Tua, well, maybe a little bit. But if you're going to put it in someone's hands, are you going to put it in the guy who's like basically 50% or lower in completion percentage? Or are you going to give it to the running backs who are running 78 yards per carry? Probably should put it in the running backs when it's 3rd and short, 3 drives in the row. And that's where the Dolphins lost the game. Miami's play calling wasn't great, especially towards the end of the game. Josh Allen was once again the rushing leader for the Bills. But he guys, he looked better, but he still has a fumbling problem, and that is not a new problem. That's been going on for seasons. So we'll see how that goes. But, it was an interesting game, 32-29, very end, last minute field goal. So, yeah, interesting game.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have Tyreek Hill, right? Like you have to throw the ball instead of run the ball.
Right.
Yeah, but, he didn't have like a dominant game either, Tyreek.
No, he didn't.
So.
No.
Waddle was the dominant one.
That game, so I was really surprised to see how they were hanging in there for so long. My Saturday was pretty busy, so unfortunately I didn't get to see anything, but I didn't expect them to hang around for as long as they did. So that was actually kind of nice to see, since they said Tua has never won a game over like 40 degrees or something like that. Some weird, crazy stat.
Not to mention all the snowballs that were being thrown.
Oh my gosh.
It was hilarious. Because I didn't know that. So that makes
If you were a Dolphins fan at that game, like, wouldn't you just start throwing like snowballs and be like, oh, hey, it's a penalty. Look, it's against the other team. Like,
they're probably like, what is this?
Yeah, I know. It was crazy.
Yeah, so I'm going to discuss the Chargers-Titans game because both teams are in the AFC, and Chargers right now are fighting to keep their playoff spot, and then Titans are fighting to keep their number 1 AFC South seed over there.
Ooh,
so
spicy.
It was a good game, actually. It was competitive. But kind of like ours with the Titans, like that Titans defense is so good. They had one of the craziest interceptions of the season. By far, it was, it was their cornerback McCreary, who so it was like right before the end of the first half, and the Titans cornerback McCreary, it's like Herbert's throwing into the red zone. McCreary makes the catch, but he's falling out of bounds. So he has the wherewithal to throw it to their other DB, who was Kalu. He throws it to Kalu, who's still in bounds. While he's like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. He throws it to Kalu, who's in bounds. Kalu makes the final interception, catches it, and it was just a really good play. Just the smart instincts to make that play was awesome to watch. So props to the Titans on that one. But then ultimately, two of the best running backs in the league too. They have Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler on either team. And both those guys are just such difference makers. Both of them are making impacts every single play. Derrick Henry, he has now 12 rushing touchdowns on the season. Austin Eckler has 9 himself. So they're just crazy. They're crazy good playmakers on on those teams. So, but ultimately it came down to the final minute, really, and it was tied 14-14. Justin Herbert was able to complete some crazy throws that he needed to make, and Mike Williams helped him out with that. And Dicker, the kicker, was able to seal the game with a field goal, which we can't say the same right now. So nonetheless,
we'll get into it. Trust me, we'll definitely get into it.
Nonetheless,
all the drama.
But yeah, so Chargers win. They actually now have the sixth seed over the Dolphins. So if the playoffs were to start today, the Chargers would actually be facing the Bengals in the first round of the playoffs. So
I would hate to see that. I've been waiting to see those two teams play each other anyway.
I'd be a really good game.
It would be a great game.
So, I mean, all props to the Chargers. They are fighting hard to make the playoffs. Dolphins need to step it up next week against the Packers, who are also fighting to make the playoffs. So it's going to be – these are some fun games we have coming up for sure. So
yeah, it definitely is. So all right, I'm going to recap the crazy Cowboys-Jags game. Go Jags. Go Trevor Lawrence. I don't think anyone was expecting that game on Sunday. It was very interesting. So anyway, I'm just going to kind of rattle off some really quick things. So Dak was 23 for 30, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and threw a game-ending pick 6, which everybody saw.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Jenkins, who was that Jags defense was all over it this game.
They were.
They are definitely motivated and inspired. They are coming for that number 1 spot. They are about to get the Titans up out of there, and I actually hope they do.
I know. They
do later, but yeah, excited for them.
Yeah.
Another stat, this is Dak's 10th interception since he's returned since week 7.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. And I think the one thing that I've just been kind of hearing all over social media and over, ESPN and Fox Sports and just everything is sounds the collective is Dallas just doesn't know how to finish games. And I feel like I've been saying for the last couple of weeks that Dak doesn't know how to close under pressure. And I think that he is a really great quarterback, but at the end of the day, can you go down and make that game-winning drive? And he's not doing that. Now, I'm not saying that, there's been a lot of quarterbacks who have thrown interceptions in the last few minutes of the game. I mean, our quarterback has, Josh Allen has. There's a lot of quarterbacks who have done it. But have we yet seen Dak this season go down and win a game? No. Especially coming back behind. So.
Last week he did versus the Texans, but that was,
Yeah. Anyway, so enough about
I want to give a quick shout out to the Vikings Colts game because that was the biggest comeback in NFL history.
Wow.
They were down 33-0 at halftime and then came back and won. So that was crazy. Just quick.
Crazy. I wasn't done though.
Oh, I thought you were moving on. Go ahead. Sorry.
I wanted to give a shout out to Doug Peterson because he's really that guy. He is down there in Jacksonville doing a hell of a job. I think he's definitely a top 5 coach in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says because he is that guy. Trevor Lawrence is really good. And I think every single week we've looked at him just progress and be so much better. So I'm really excited to see what the 23 season looks like for him. Zay Jones went off. He was 6 for 109, 3 touchdowns. So your fantasy football is extremely happy if you have them. But like I said, at the end of the day, the Jags won, pick 6 to win the game. 40 ball, 40-34 on the Cowboys at home. I love to see it. Great job. Jacksonville, keep coming for that number 1 spot. I know that they can do it. All they got to do is win out, and I think their schedule is really easy for these last 3 games. And they have a very high possibility of doing it. So, shout out to Minnesota for coming back. And then what you said, shout out to Minnesota for coming back.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch that game either, but I just remember going in the halftime and being like, they're down 30-0. What?
Yeah, I was coaching soccer, and my mom was kind of keeping me up to date on some of the scores. And I was like, they're down what? And then
it
back
was
home, we were just like, wait, Minnesota's coming back? What is it? And it was
like the weirdest turn of events. And to be honest, like the beginning of that game reminded me of our Colts game, where it was like just the weirdest things kept happening.
Yeah.
And it was like, why is this stuff happening? And they just could not figure it out. And they made like the best halftime adjustment you could ever make. So
absolutely. I think the only other thing we need to maybe call out real quick is that Raiders win. The Patriots got too. The Patriots sold, and that is hilarious to see. So as
that
much
may
as
be
I
the
hate
dullest team I've ever seen.
that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. So as much as I hate the Raiders, I love how they won that game. So they definitely need some type of team camaraderie. So that was really good to see.
I mean, that has to be one of the most embarrassing things in Bill Belichick's career that's ever happened.
Yeah. Especially because the player who picked him off was a former Patriot.
Oh, yeah.
So that makes it even better, right?
Yeah.
He's like, let me show you.
Let me show you. And that's what I love to see. So
hilarious.
Anyway, so last week we came to Texas, baby. Chiefs, Texans in Houston. We got the win. Lord, we are now
sure did.
3. We now have our 7th straight AFC West championship title. Chrissy's having issues with her dogs. It's okay. We love them.
It's okay because it's like 2 degrees outside and they can't be outside. So.
Yeah, and he's a puppy and he's driving me bonkers.
Oh, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into this Chiefs Texans recap. What are you guys' thoughts? What are your takeaways? What do you want to see differently next week? I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let someone else go. He's got
Lexi,
some loud.
I'll go.
I'll be right back.
Passing the torch.
Started off. I mean,
you're such a pet mom. I love it.
Chrissy has 3 dogs, 2 cats, 2 kids.
Right.
She's got a whole workload over there. So
she's also training her dog. She's doing a really good job. I know that's a personal note that
y'all. But to start with the Chiefs Texans game, I mean, okay, none of us expected that to go to overtime ever in a million years. I mean, come on, what are we doing? But it also, I'd like to thank Carl Sheffers and his crew for giving us a real good challenge there.
Providing some unity and peace.
Diversity. Woo!
They hold like the highest stat of like calls against any team for the last 15 years. So,
and not by like a small amount, by a
huge amount. So I just like to thank him. I ended up looking up where he's from, and he's from Whittier, California, which is near Los Angeles. So I'm convinced he's like a Chargers or Raiders fan, and he just has it out for us. But nonetheless, no, it's all fun. It's all fun and games. But in all seriousness, it was actually a great game. The Texans played a great game. Props to them. I mean, Lovie Smith has that team still fighting. I know they've only won 1 game, but like
they played with energy.
They put on a good fight every single week, and they have a lot of really young, good players. I think they have a good future to look forward to. So I think, and the Texans are really set up great for the draft next season.
Oh yeah.
So I think they have a lot to look forward to as fans. And I appreciate a good battle, right? Like we all have a good game as much as we don't want a stressful Sunday. Like it makes the game that much more fun. And I mean, biggest takeaways, like Mahomes had a historic game for himself as in Chiefs quarterback history. He went for 36 out of 41 targets, highest for any quarterback in Chiefs history, 87% completion. So props to Mahomes. We just love him.
You're stealing my thunder.
Lights out.
No, I'll give you that one. But no, I mean, our team, no matter what team they're playing, they're never going to quit. You know, they're going to fight till the end. They have a special bond. And we won the freaking AFC West for the 7th time in a row. Like, I am so proud. This team is just, they're so much fun to watch. I'm so proud to be a fan. And what else can you ask for, right? So
I know. Chrissy, are you ready to be back?
Yeah, I'm feeding Cheerios as you guys talk to keep them quiet.
Right.
So as Lexi mentioned, we all know like the officiating was a big storyline, but I never want to use the officiating to blame a win or a loss or anything like that. But I think we can all come together and say the officiating was very inconsistent.
Yeah.
And for our defense, it's not like the Texans put up a bunch of yards, guys. Like they barely had 200 yards of offense. And so really all of their yards came off of penalties. And it seems like every penalty they had was like on a key third down where it was like we made a stop on a third down and then there was a flag. And that's really hard when you're an athlete and you are trying to keep in a rhythm and get off the field and you think you've done it and then another flag and then another flag and then another flag comes out, some of which were very questionable calls. It really just, I mean, your mental aspect just starts disintegrating. You just start becoming like, oh, we're never going to get off the field. Like they just keep throwing flags, etc. So as a player, I can understand how frustrating that is.
Yeah.
And so, our wide receivers, I thought they had a great game. They had big catches against a pretty good secondary. And one thing, guys, that I wanted to look up, I was just curious with the Texans schedule. So as we all know, we're going into week 16. So the Texans have only lost, and all of their games they played, they've only lost by 2 scores in 6 games. The rest have all been 1-score games. So it's not like they've been getting blown out by everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So I know when people talk about like, no, should we have gone to overtime? No. But it's not like I said, the Texans are not getting blown out by everybody. They're playing teams well.
They're playing very well. I mean, they played great against us, the Cowboys, the Eagles.
They're playing with a lot of fire.
In the NFL, they're playing so well.
The top teams right now,
which we mentioned last week on our podcast. So the Texans played with a lot of fire. They played with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And when you're a 1, and now I know they're 1-12 now, but when you're a 1-11 team and you're going out and you're playing that hard with that much passion and that much energy, especially against, a team that was 10-3 at the time, that's impressive. So I give a lot of props to the coaching staff on keeping those guys with that fire, with the energy, because that's not easy to do when you're the worst team in the NFL record wise. So
well, and it was kind of like a home game for the Chiefs. I don't know if you realized it, but it was so many Chiefs fans in the stands. And
it was red.
A few of them, I have a lot of family in Houston. A lot of them went to the game and they were like, man, y'all packed it out, but it was quiet because the game was so close. And
I know.
On edge. So they were like, because they travel to Kansas City all the time as well. They're like, we know how y'all are. We know how y'all fans are. But when I tell you it was super quiet in that stadium and nobody kind of knew what was happening next and everything was on pins and needles, I'm like, yeah, that's how I was at home watching the game as well. So it makes a lot.
I will say, our defensive, I think our defense, they didn't have their greatest day, but we only had 1 sack, and that sack was Frank Clark running Mills out of bounds. It wasn't even like he got to the quarterback.
No, Brandon Williams had one.
Who?
He did. Yeah.
Brandon Williams had one. Our new.
Oh, he wasn't on my stat sheet. So okay, so we had one sack. I just expected. Okay, so we had 2. But I just expected more out of them. I expected him to get to the quarterback better. Especially coming off what, a 6-sack day against, I know it was Russell Wilson, but I just expected more than, but I know a lot of them are sick right now.
I know it's Russell Wilson, and then we're playing against the Texans, who are 1-11. Like,
yeah, but I also know right now, like, we've got Colin Saunders, Frank Dana, Chris Jones. They all are on the injury report with an illness. So, like, who knows how healthy they actually were last week? You know,
that's what I'm wondering, because Frank Clark missed like a day or two of practice due to an illness as well last week.
And Chris Jones was questionable to play, so I think he probably played through an illness. So I think we might see a better looking defense this coming weekend.
We're playing through illnesses too, Chrissy. We're both on the IR right now.
Yeah. We're all suffering.
We're both on the IR right now. I do think there are some great things, though, we need to call out, even though the game was ugly.
I mean, I want to give a shout out to Jalen Watson, who I know hasn't gotten quite as many snaps the past few weeks as a rookie. Yeah. But he actually had a great game against them. Like, he didn't, I don't think he really allowed one completion.
And if his hands weren't so padded up, he probably would have had 1 or 2 interceptions.
Yeah. So
it hit him right in there.
It really did. I know. He was so close on the one in the end zone. And
and he was just like, I can't.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I want to give him props because he stepped up really well this week. And then just silly mistakes like by Harris. You know, I don't know why they put him in on Willie Gay or over Willie Gay on that one play where it was like right before the half, and he just pulled on the guy's jersey, and obviously that's going to be pass interference. And you're like, why are you doing that?
Call that every time?
Like, just clean that stuff up. Like, why are we doing that right now?
Well, and they missed the PI on Snead.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, come on now, Snead. Like, the defense was not clean, right? Yeah. So I think for me, what I expected to see is, and again, this is not to say the Texans are not a great team, because they are a good team, even though their record doesn't reflect it. They play hard, they play physical, they play aggressive. So they definitely gave us the challenge that we needed, considering the fact that our schedule is a little bit lighter the back half of the year. But with that being said, I expect this team to be cleaner on both sides of the ball, and they weren't. You know what I mean? So we definitely there were a lot of opportunities on all 3 sides of the ball. We had a fumble. We had too many penalties on defense. We had too many missed kicks on special teams. So, I mean, there's definitely opportunity all around where we need to be better. But I think, like, the highlight of this game was McKinnon and Pacheco. They went crazy. Like, they both went. McKinnon was lights out.
They were crazy.
And they once again.
Another week in a row, right? So, I mean, even though the only thing I can really think is with the amount of penalties, with how messy we played, with everything that we had against us, because it was a ton of adversity, we still figured out a way to come out and win. I will say, like, I was listening to a podcast earlier, and they said something that made me kind of think a little bit deeper. They were like, man, we won the ball in overtime, which I don't understand. I know why Justin Reed was the captain. I get it, but
because it's his old team.
Anyway. No,
they let her even tackles though.
But we won the toss. Offense went down the field, and offense didn't score, and that is not okay.
No,
defense
it's not.
Won that game, and even though defense was terrible for 4 quarters, defense won that game. I expect Patrick Mahomes and this team, Travis Kelce, Pacheco, McKinnon, MVS. I expect them to go down there and score in overtime and win. Not a field goal. I expect them to go down there and get.
I couldn't believe we didn't go for it on 4th down. I'm like, why are we punting? You have Patrick Mahomes. You're the Chiefs. Like, why are you punting on 4th down?
And he was playing lights out, so it really doesn't make sense, like, the reasoning that happened, because it's not like Pat had a bad game.
Honestly,
first game he didn't have an interception.
I honestly kind of think it's because of how the refs were playing us and how the refs were that game. Like, they were kind of like, okay, if we do something and we get a call on that, and then it, I don't know.
But did you hear Willie Gay?
Exactly, but I kind of think that's my theory on it.
But I feel like it was more towards the defense versus the offense.
Yeah. What Willie Gay came out, you're just talking about the officiating. He came out and he said that they were going to try to give the ball to the Texans. And so that's why he came out and he showed him the ball. And he's like, you can't deny I've got the ball. So, like, even then, like you said, like, they weren't wanting to give our defense anything, you know? And so it's like,
Yeah.
trust your offense there. Like, I'm glad our defense came up big, but
Yeah.
our offense, it seems like this, especially since we've lost a couple of our red zone threats, like with, you know, CH and Hardman going out, they were our big red zone guys. They helped diversify our red zone and make it where there's a lot more targets.
Oh, yeah.
And it feels like ever since then, maybe we haven't quite figured out who is filling all of those roles to push the needle and all that. So I don't know. I was kind of surprised. I was thinking we'd go for it on 4th down too, and we didn't. So.
No. I will say though, I am a little bit frustrated that we. Oh my God, what was I about to say? Sick brain. I lost my thought. I lost my thought just that quick. It's fine. I'll bring it up when we recap the next game.
I do want to say though, like, I want to give some of our people a shout. Like Noah Gray had some really clutch plays in the game. He's really developing a good connection. So I'm excited about that. Justin Watson had a really unfortunate drop on a really, really nice throw by Mahomes.
Insane throw. Insane.
From his own end zone and
in the air, like twisting, like
gosh, like stuff like that. Like you got to catch that, and then like, I mean, that was the craziest set of downs. Like he throws it to Watson, a beautiful pass. Watson misses it. Throws it to Kelsey. Kelsey catches it. Another beautiful, crazy pass. But then that defender holds him down. Kelsey gets mad and gets up and pushes him back. And then, of course, it gets called on Kelsey. But then Mahomes completes it to Noah Gray, and Noah Gray fights for that first down. So
yeah,
it was just fun to watch. Our guys just try to make it happen no matter what. And then Juju had some really tough, good plays. I mean, I feel like they're always coming for Juju's head, right? Like
he hit
some big hits. I'm like, what is this? And then MVS with a really nice touchdown in the end zone with like flying slanted catch. So
that was a great catch.
Some props to our guys for some really awesome plays because, yeah, I mean, I think those kind of plays you can be excited about because you're like, those can get you through the playoffs. So you have to focus on that. Texans did not play like a 1-12-1 team, right? Like
no, they absolutely did not.
So I think you got to give our team props, and they came out victorious and won a championship for the 7th year in a row. So so exciting. Let's be excited, Chiefs Kingdom, because our guys were so excited. Like Carlos Dunlap after was recording, he's like, I got my first hat, my first T-shirt. It was just the best thing ever. I'm like, and who else? It was someone else's first too. And I don't know. I was just like,
Justin Reed, Sky Moore, you know,
all of that. I mean,
all of our rookies, course, but you know, Justin Reed coming over, Carlos Dunlap coming over,
in his home stadium,
Brian Williams coming over,
Brandon Williams, yeah.
So who's your guys' player of the game?
So my player of the game, you guys can laugh at me all you want. I'm doing it.
Oh, I love it.
Why do you own that?
That's amazing.
I'm going Patrick Mahomes. You guys are going to have to listen to me while wearing this hat for the next minute or so.
Right.
So Patrick Mahomes, he is one of only 5 players in NFL history to record 4 or more seasons with 35 plus touchdowns. And he achieved this in 4 of his 5 seasons as a starter. And the only season that he didn't achieve it is when he missed games because of his kneecap during our Super Bowl season. So he traded it in for a Super Bowl, which I'm okay with. He set a new record of completion percentages, as we've already discussed, at 88% or 87.8. I'm rounding it up to 88.
Yeah.
He threw for 20 straight completions to end the game, which is a record for him. I think probably for our franchise. And if he gets to, and it carries over to the next game, if he can hit 5 straight completions to start the next game, I believe he gets the NFL record for straight completions. So he just, I mean, I feel like almost every week, maybe not last week with his interceptions, but almost every week he really could be a player of the game. But this week, I just really wanted to celebrate everything he did because he played one of the best games of his season, I think, with the throws he made, with the completion percentages, everything he did. getting 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, no interceptions, bouncing back after a 3 interception game last week. Like he just had a fantastic game. So.
And we said that last week, right? Like we said, after he throws 3 interceptions, the only 2 other times he's done that, he comes back and plays a perfect game. And he did. So like, and he played his most perfect game.
Yep.
So we are just so blessed to have him as our quarterback. We love you, Patrick. My player of the game is Mr. Isaiah Pacheco. Finally, I get to have him because he's been everyone else's the past few weeks. But he is just, again, just a blast to watch. I just look forward to it every single time he has the ball. He just runs with so much like fire in his eyes. Like he is just determined to make every single big play. He went for 15 carries for 86 yards. So again, he's averaging 5.7. We'll round up 6 yards a carry, right? Like he's doing incredible things. I know he had a fumble and he got benched there for a little bit because I think Andy Reid has a terrible bit of a short leash with the fumbles, right? But
that was a weird one too. It just like fell right down.
It was, I don't know. It was.
I'll never understand why he has issues with fumbles, but not like a running fumble versus a receiving fumble, because he usually puts the player right back in immediately. And
I know.
Pacheco came back in, he was lights out. Like
so, he's like, I'm going to make this work. Yeah,
that
like
was really frustrating to see. Actually. So, but I get it.
Yeah, I don't think he was really deserving of being
out that
long. And I don't know. It wasn't necessary in my opinion, but I'm not the head coach, so it's what it is.
Should be. No, I'm just kidding.
At this point, no. No, you're not qualified. But nonetheless, he's just so much fun to watch week after week. He's a rookie, so he's only going to get better than this. And he's playing really smart lately. Like he's finding the open holes. He's figuring out where to go. He did miss one block from Mahomes that resulted in a pretty nasty sack.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, I know that he's going to clean up. And like, he's one of those guys that's so hard on himself once he makes a mistake. So, and you can just tell. So yeah, I don't know. I just love Isaiah Pacheco. I can't wait to keep watching him grow on our team. He's going to be a blast. So I just hope we don't bench him for no reason and just keep letting the dude play.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My player of the game, I'll go quick, is McKinnon.
Yes.
Rock star.
Nothing to say, yeah.
Electric.
There's not really a ton to say besides the fact that he got the game-winning touchdown in overtime, but he was 10 carries, 52 yards. And the thing is he's also averaging 5 yards a carry. So right now our running backs are averaging between 5 and 6 yards every time they have the ball, which I think we say this every single week. There's no reason why we stop running the ball, because they are literally doing exactly what it is that needs to be done. So
make this more dangerous for sure.
For sure. So very proud of McKinnon. He's had 2 really great weeks back to back. And I mean, that doesn't even include the fact that he's been really good just all season naturally too.
Yeah.
So,
he's running so patiently. Like there was a play where he reminded me of Le'Veon Bell a little bit. Like he like waited and waited again. And like, it was just the patience that McKinnon is displaying. I think Pacheco is going to learn so much from watching McKinnon and with that patience that he is. McKinnon's just great. Plus the receiving side.
Like,
God, he's
awesome. They're going to learn a lot from each other because Pacheco runs so hard. I think that's something that McKinnon could pick up from him as well. Like, what Andy Reid always says, like, don't stop moving your feet. Like, keep moving your legs going.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, let's see how this goes.
It's kind of like Mahomes said today in his presser. He's like, Pacheco just does everything well. He blocks well. He knows where to be. He's a smart player. And he's such a good teammate too. Like they all just love him.
Yeah.
And he just always knows what to do at the right time. So he's going to be so, so good for our playoff run.
What a steal, man. 7th round.
Yeah, I'll take it.
What a steal.
So let's get into this Chiefs Seahawks game. Christmas Eve at Arrowhead. I think the temperature right now, well, I say right now earlier, so
it changes like on the hour. So
it says
it's gonna be gross though.
It says 6 degrees, -8 possibility, and a wind chill of like -10.
Yeah.
I'm selling my ticket. by the way. So yeah, it is going to be cold. It is going to be brutal. We got, I guess there's no Tyler Lockett this week.
Nope, broke a finger, has to have surgery.
Which sucks because he's a K-State kid.
I know. His dad was briefly a Chief, right? So, like, it's a bummer.
So, let's get into the Seahawks game. I mean, we've already clinched. The Seahawks are fighting for a playoff spot. They need this win more than we do. Not saying we don't need it, because we need it.
We need it.
We want to be number one. The goal is to win out, but the Seahawks want to just get in the game. They just want to be in the conversation. So,
right.
What y'all thoughts about Chiefs Seahawks? 6 degrees.
So I think if we can get our offense and defense on the same page, we'll be golden. I think a lot of our defense, our defensive line, notice our defense looks so much better, and this includes last year when our defensive line gets to the quarterback. There's a lot less pressure on the secondary. So I feel like if our defensive line can get over this illness that they are all suffering from right now, I think we should be fine. I think watching the McDuffie and Watson and even some Joshua Williams versus Metcalf, I think that's going to be really fun.
It's going to be really good.
A fun matchup. And something that's really exciting, you guys. So, Kadarius Toney had a full practice today for the first time in like a month.
I know.
And Andy Reid said today that there is a really good chance that McCole will be back. So even if he's on a limited snap count, I think getting him in there is going to be great.
You guys also hear that apparently Blake Bell is back today?
He's back in practice. Yeah.
Like, that's so exciting.
Yeah. A lot of healthy pieces coming back at the right time.
Back.
And I mean, honestly, this
maybe
might
not for this game, but like at least for the future games.
This might be a stretch, but I would be okay if KT and McCole set out another week. Like, that's where I'm at. I think our offense can do it without them, and if that means that gets them to 150% healthy, then I'm fine with that, because I know how much of a key player they both will be in the playoffs. So I hope they keep them both as limited as they kept KT in the Texans game, because I don't think he played it all in the second half.
The only thing that worries me about that is I saw McKinnon on the sideline, and he's constantly got like one of those massage guns all over him, and I know he's been hurting too, and he's been taking a really heavy load with those guys out. So even if they come in very limited, if they could maybe take some to where he can maybe get a little more of a break to heal up some, I think that would be good too, because it's like a hard like
Well, and I feel like there needs to be more MVS. I feel like there needs to be more Jodi. I feel like there needs to be more
Sky Moore.
Noah Gray too. Sky Moore.
I feel like we have the weapons that can relieve that tension, and we're not utilizing them correctly. So because we see what Noah Gray was amazing last week against the Texans.
He's been fantastic for weeks.
Yeah. I feel like he definitely could be a player of the game more often
if they just gave him more targets.
If they gave him more targets, and Jodi. So I mean, the opportunity is there to relieve that tension on both of them. I think MVS needs to step up a little bit more, and I think Juju can too. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think it's there for it to happen, because we don't want him to wear down. I
do think
my notes.
It wasn't me this time. Yeah.
We're a little chaotic this week, y'all. I'm on the IR, guys. I'm on the IR.
I mean, we're just dealing with all the crazy that's been this week. It's kind of rubbed off on us a little bit, you know?
That just summarizes like the end of December, right? That's just how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Christmas.
But no, I mean, I'm excited to see what Geno Smith does too. So I can't wait to see.
I'm praying that like Spags will finally like throw him some different looks and like test Geno a little bit. Like, make this game exciting. It's on Christmas Eve. It's going to be cold. I don't know if that means it's going to be like a run heavy game. I mean, they do have Kenneth Walker back, so they're running back. It's really good. So like, we need to be on guard for that.
Is it supposed to snow on Saturday, or is it just cold?
No, it's going to be sunny, but cold.
But freezing. So that's what makes me think like, I don't know, like I feel like this game is going to be played like a normal game.
It could be like a shootout kind of. Like,
it might be a high scoring game. I mean, hopefully it's not. hopefully our defense steps up.
I know.
But no, that's exactly what's
going to be good. And yeah.
I want to see the offense come out. I want them to be fast. I want them to be hot. I want them to put points on the board. I want them to have better clock management and run that time down. Hi, puppy. And run the clock down. I want everybody to be clean on both sides of the ball. It's hilarious, actually. I want no turnovers anywhere.
No turnovers.
Offense, special teams. I don't want to see a turnover. Period.
You guys know
unless it's an apple or cherry one, I want no turnovers near us.
This is the highest amount of games in a row for Andy Reid with offensive turnovers.
Yeah,
ever.
Insane.
Like, come on, what are we doing? Be disciplined. That's what I'm saying. Like these stupid things, like Darius Harris made that stupid PI where you're pulling the guy's. I'm like, you know, you're thinking of pulling the guy's shirt. You're gonna get called for that. Just like stop these stupid. You guys are all very talented. Just stop with the little messy turnovers.
Stop being stupid.
Play clean. I didn't realize CEH was out this week again. He's not out for the season, right?
No, I think he's on IR.
So it hasn't been 4 games.
I bet they take him back to the playoff.
Maybe it's
but McColl's.
There's been very little talk about CEH.
Yeah, very little.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think they'll sneak him back in a few, maybe in the next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, Ronald Jones.
But yeah, I'm really
excited. Carry, so you know.
Yeah.
Do we really need?
Why not utilize
this
season?
I
know.
I don't know if we need him back this season, and that sounds mean. I don't mean to be mean, but I don't really think we need him back. Huh?
He's going to score the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Right?
Probably will.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to how our two teams match up. I think it's a very good match. I would not have said that earlier, or before the season.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm actually, and again, I said this kind of earlier, but I like that, you know, before the season started, we all thought like how the schedule like really lightened up in the back half of the season. And we all were like, you know, that Seahawks game is going to be like, you know, the game that really tests us. But honestly, every week we've been tested.
Yeah.
So I want our guys to stay sharp. I want them to stay sharp. So I don't want them to get stagnant. And
they need to clean stuff up.
They
you know, these teams are going to keep testing us. The Broncos absolutely are going to test us because they want to beat us next season. They're already out of contention this season, but they want to.
And they won last week. I think we gave them a little pep in their step. Honestly,
don't we give everybody pep? We always give people. Look at the Colts.
But that's what they say. That's what they say is the Chiefs are the standard of the league, right? So everyone's going to give you their best every single week, and you have to come prepared. And that's on every single side of the ball. That's on special teams, defense, and offense.
Yeah.
We need our guys to play serious. We need them to finish out each game strong and show why they should be the first seed, in my opinion. But we, you know,
Well, I definitely don't think we have any blowouts for the remainder of the year. I think every game is going to be close. I don't care who it is. It can be me, you, and you out there. It's still going to be a close game.
Heck yeah. We can
Us three can put up 21. Okay. So I think every game is going to be a close game from like here on out. And I hope that every team tests us. And we need to win out if we want number one. Like at this point, there are no L's. We got to win out. So y'all got anything else to say about Chiefs Seahawks?
Not too much, but I'm just excited. I'm excited to see how our DBs do against like DK. And you know what? I'm not counting out. I mean, I wish Tyler Lockett was playing, but like last week, Houston was out like 5 or 6 starters, and they still played us that tough. So you can't count anyone out on these
sometimes
teams.
When teams are out a bunch of starters and you've got these young guys stepping in who want to make a name for themselves, sometimes you get a better game than you thought because they're trying to make a name for themselves.
And
I think people don't pay attention to that enough.
They got to get some game tape.
Like you
said, be here next year.
Like you said, Jodi, Seahawks are playing for a playoff spot right now. Like they're not out yet. So
they want to be in the conversation.
It should be a good game. It should be a competitive game.
I just want to say to the Chiefs, please don't ruin Christmas. Thanks so much.
No,
please.
No pressure, but please don't ruin Christmas.
This is the one gift we asked for.
Like, please don't make me be upset on Christmas. Last week we did division prediction winners, and we went over the AFC.
Yes.
We talked about who we think are going to win each division, and so this week we're going to do the same thing with the NFC. So, to the listeners, what that means is we're going to go through every single division in the NFC and figure out who we think are going to be the winners of that division. But football has been so crazy. We might have to do AFC again next week because it's not.
Who knows, man?
Who knows? So let's start with the NFC North.
I'm going with the Vikings, even though I think they're the biggest frauds in the NFL.
No, man.
Respectfully.
I just really like that song by Lizzo.
I know. I was singing that song today, Jodi. That's hilarious. I was like, it's a great song. New man and Minnesota Vikings. I am also going Minnesota Vikings. I don't know how they'll fare in the playoffs because I don't know, but they also just completed like the best historic win comeback in history. So they might pull off another Minneapolis miracle.
Minneapolis miracle.
Go.
So, yeah, right. But then I'm hoping for the Lions to make a little push there too. They're not going to win the division though, but
yeah, right. I want to get in the playoffs. I agree.
If they would have started the year playing closer to how they're playing now, like finishing games, like we could be talking about a whole different Lions.
Absolutely.
I know.
I mean, I'm also picking the Vikings because they've already clinched. They're already in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the Lions started off 1-6 and now they're 7-7.
I know, it's crazy.
And a lot of teams right now are 7-7.
Yeah.
A ton of teams are 7-7. I was in a space this morning and we were doing NFL rankings and I was just kind of looking through all the NFL teams and I was like, there's a lot of 7-7 teams right now. And I didn't realize it. So it's literally one win and be in pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
NFC South. Yuck.
Oh God.
We do not.
This division.
They give us
disgusting.
I mean, so for those of you who don't know, the NFC South, the Falcons, Panthers, and Saints are all 5-9, and the Bucks are 6-8. So it is literally anybody's division, and they all suck. So
I'm actually really glad we did not play the Falcons this year.
Oh my God, like I kind of feel like I don't know. Like, I don't want to. I feel like I can't rule out Brady, but I feel like we probably could this year. But I'm gonna give it to the Bucks still. Yeah, but I don't feel confident about that, and I don't think that any team that is below 500 deserves to go to the playoffs. But
I'm gonna give it to the Bucks. But I know I almost wish the rules were different. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it to the Bucks because it's Brady. He's gonna find his way to the playoffs.
And then he'll be a whole different guy in the playoffs, I'm sure.
I don't know about that because this team looks way worse than we thought. Like going into the season, I thought they were actually going to be really good, and they just have disappointed week after week. Even their wins have not been like dominant at all. No. So I don't know. But I'm going to give to them simply because I don't see Desmond Ridder winning. I don't see Andy Dalton and the Saints coming back. I don't see the Panthers with Sam Darnold beating Brady. So
right.
I'm going Bucks as well, and I just want to say I'm very impressed with the Falcons. I think they will take the number 2 spot in that division because they have been balling as well.
And Drake London, like what a rookie, guys.
Yeah, fantasy football is very happy to have him. Okay, the NFC East, what they have been calling the NFC Beast because they have been balling. They are the best division in football right now. They're all winners, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going with the Eagles until, I feel like so far, I know their schedule necessarily hasn't been as tough, but I'm not saying it's been a cakewalk either. And they've still been able to come out on top a majority of the season. So I'm going to give it to the Eagles. But with Jalen Hurts now potentially having an injury, it could flip everything. We don't know. He's got apparently a sprained shoulder or something. They don't know if he'll be playing. So
they said today that they think he might, but I'm like, man, that is with a Saturday game.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah, we'll see
I'm
how
so
that
bummed for him.
I am too, because I really want. Well, we'll get into that in a minute.
We want even MVP race, right? Like, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm super bummed for Jalen. I don't want to see that. But I do think they have a big enough lead. They're going to make the playoffs no matter what. But
They said earlier that if the Eagles win this week, then Jalen can literally sit out into the playoffs.
Yeah. And I kind of hope that's
they
the
just
case.
need to go win this week.
Yeah, because he needs to be there for the playoffs. So
correct. I would definitely rest him after this week.
I still think they'll take the division. I mean, Gardner Minshew is arguably the best quarterback,
or
best
even with the
league,
Jags,
right? So it's kind of like one of that, like the Nick Foles, Carson Wentz situation there.
It is.
That's what reminds me of.
Minshew throw like 37 touchdowns when he was with the Jags somehow? Like it's not like he can't throw it the ball.
He's really good. So he's a good backup to have. So I think he can pull it off for them if they do end up resting Jalen like they need to and should. But yeah, I still think Eagles will take that.
I'm going Eagles as well. I mean, Eagles and Cowboys have already both clinched. They're both already in the playoff. Not clinched, I apologize. They're both already in the playoffs. The Eagles have pretty much clinched the division. It will be said after this week.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, same thing. I think that they figure out a way to make him play. I don't want him to play because I don't want him to injure himself even more. But the world wants to see Dak versus Jalen real bad. So I don't know what they're going to do on that. But I am also going Eagles. They are my underdog team this year. And,
yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I just think.
West. My bad. AFC West. Who are you guys picking for that division?
NFC West.
NFC West. Sorry. NFC West. Who are you guys picking?
I'm picking the 49ers. Their defense is playing lights out right now. I think their defense can do pretty much anything for that team right now. So
technically they won it. So
they definitely proved that they're the
prediction there, Chrissy. They did win. So
yeah.
Right. Well, they definitely proved that they're the number one defense in the NFL, especially after
they're pretty good.
So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they already won their division, so But we'll see.
But like what I'm saying is like even with Brock Purdy or whatever, like I feel like that it's they're relying more on their defense right now, and their defense can get them through until they figure out their quarterback situation through the playoffs. I think that I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like this is a very very bad example because. You remember when the Denver Broncos had Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning was just not good, but their defense was like phenomenal, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl, and it wasn't because of Peyton. He was not Peyton Manning at that point, so it was like I could see the defense being that kind of a defense where they could take every game and make it theirs, and it wouldn't matter who's playing quarterback. So
and CMC is playing very well. He's adapted very well into that place.
He really has. Yeah.
He's doing great.
CMC is crazy. He's so crazy to watch. He's that perfect addition they needed.
Yeah. I'm actually I guess I'll talk about this next. So let's go ahead and get into the game picks because I wanted to comment on you guys talked about CMC.
Are we missing one or did we do all NFC?
We did them all.
That's all the NFC.
Okay. I'm like, did we miss one? I don't know.
No, that's all of them. And I mean, the Niners have already clinched. So, I mean, there wasn't really much more to talk about there. So, top 5 game picks for this week. There's some really good football, really the next 3 weeks, honestly, until we get into the playoffs. So, Thursday night football should be a great one. It is Jags versus Jets Thursday night football in wherever the Jets play.
MetLife.
I'm going with the Jags.
You're going where?
I'm going with the Jags. I think they're playing more consistent football right now. And I don't fully believe Zach Wilson is the Zach Wilson we just randomly saw last week when they finally let him back in after all the injuries. So
he's not playing this week. They ruled him out already.
Zach Wilson?
Jets quarterback, right?
Zach Wilson?
Oh, I'm thinking about Mike White. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was like, Zach Wilson got hurt too.
Oh, my bad.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he's that guy. I mean, he's not that guy, but you know what I mean. Like, So I'm going
Yeah.
Jags.
Well,
they look alike. Sorry.
they do look alike.
They look alike.
I think it's fun to see, like, because they were the number 1 and number 2 overall picks, Trevor and Zach. So I think that's kind of a fun matchup. I think Zach's going to kind of want to prove his little point there, but
Yeah.
ultimately I do think it'll be the Jags. But I actually think it's going to be a really close game, and I don't think, because again, the Jets defense is crazy good, and if Zach can have a good performance, they could do something. So we'll see. But I do think the Jags will end up taking it because they want that division, and they're close. So
I think the Jags win it as well because they are on a hot streak right now. Next game, another good one. Now we're in Saturday football, which is my favorite time of year. Bengals versus Patriots Saturday at noon.
So I do think this is going to be a good game, but after what the Patriots did at the end of this game last week, I cannot choose them. So I'm going with the Bengals.
I sadly have to go with the Bengals too. I don't want to. It pains me, but I think ultimately they're the better team and they're going to outperform them, even if it's a close game.
I definitely am going Bengals as well. I do think there is some weather happening though up there on Saturday, so that may do something.
It may be what's coming through here.
Yeah,
there.
It's like across the whole country. Like it's gonna be be really bad everywhere.
Like, shout out to my friend Travis. He lives in the Ohio area and he said that stuff is coming through. I think he said Friday into Saturday. So
yeah. Chicago's getting hit really hard too on Friday. So next game, Bills versus Bears, Saturday at noon.
The Bears.
Chicago.
Sorry.
Interesting. I feel like the Bills are taking weather with them everywhere they go. Like
everywhere.
They're bad. That's how I feel.
So the thing with the Bears is, like, I know they don't have a good record, but I don't think they kind of remind me of like the Texans, that they're better than their record shows. I think this is actually going to be a really good game, especially after watching the Bills last week not stop the run. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I don't see this being a blowout. I see it being very close, very similar game to maybe how the Dolphins-Bills game was. I am going to give the edge to the Bills, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this as an upset somehow.
That's especially what I want to say. Well, yeah. I mean, for one, like, I don't even know how they're going to play this game because the conditions might be so dangerous for people to even get there. Once again,
they better leave tomorrow.
What are you doing, Bills?
I don't want to hear any
excuses. Something.
They better leave tomorrow.
So I want to see, you know what? I want to see the Bills lose one of these bad weather games because I'm sick of them getting away with it.
Me too.
So we're going to go with the upset with the Chicago Bears. The Bears. We'll get that win, boys.
I'm also going Bears because I believe more in. Is Chrissy frozen?
Yeah, that was an epic freeze.
Oh, is she frozen?
Chrissy froze like this.
Yeah, but it was a great freeze, so it was really good. I'm also going Bears because she froze again. I'm also going Bears because I think that they have what it takes, and their quarterback is killing it right now.
He is. He's so good.
Is killing it as well. So I'm going Bears. Next game, Saturday, 3:25, Eagles at Jerry's World. Eagles versus Cowboys.
It's a division game. This one's tough because I literally didn't circle either one because I couldn't decide.
This is the game that
I'm going to give the edge to the Cowboys because it is at home, and I think that they're going to go to practice this week and try to clean up a lot of what happened this past week. So, I'm going with the Eagles. I'm giving the edge to the Eagles. Or not, sorry, the Cowboys. I'm giving the edge to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
This one was tough, though. I don't know.
It's really tough. I actually think it could, like, be one of those that goes into overtime.
Yeah.
Especially because Jalen's not going to be playing, and I do think he's a difference maker on their team. I will say that. So
100%.
And especially just putting a new quarterback in can be difficult, but I do think they'll adjust and do what they need to do. I think I'm going to give the edge to the Eagles, actually, just because I think they're on their hot streak, and I think they want to keep that win streak going for Jalen, especially if he's hurt. So I'm going to go with Eagles in the upset in Dallas.
I am also going Eagles. I have an agenda against the Cowboys.
I have an agenda.
2 reasons why I'm going Eagles, though, because A, I think Minshew can do it. B, the Cowboys looked terrible at home last week against the Texans. At home against the Texans. C, whatever, however the alphabet goes. The Cowboys-Eagles game in Dallas is always insane. I remember being at one of the, it was like Sunday night football, Cowboys, Eagles, and the stadium was rocking. Like, it did go into overtime. There were tornadoes happening in Dallas, and nobody even knew it until we left. It was crazy. I think the Eagles are the better team.
Yeah.
I don't think Dak knows how to play under pressure, and this is a pressure game for him before it even starts, because win and be number 1, lose and be number 2. So I think even though they're a few games back, this game still can decide on if they win the division or not, which is why it's so late in the year. So go Eagles. What do they go?
Fly, Eagles, fly.
I'm like, they got a whole bunch of stuff. Regardless, I'm Team Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Yeah, I want them to win. I'm excited to see that game, though.
Yeah.
Last game, Packers versus Dolphins in sunny Florida.
I'm going with the Packers.
You're going Packers?
I'm going with the Packers, yeah. They've won 2 straight. Sorry, my children just got home, so it might be really loud. They've won 2 straight. Tua is not playing well, and the Dolphins have lost 3 straight. So I'm going, and you know, both teams are desperate, but the Packers are more desperate. So I'm going with the Packers.
I actually kind of wanted to go with the Packers as well. But I also can see it. I don't know.
I know.
They're both such desperate teams right now. Like, both teams need this win to make the playoffs.
They do.
You know what? Actually, I think I'm going to go Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to pull it off. I just think they're going to find some stupid way in the end. It's going to be dumb. It's going to be a dumb game. Like, it's going to be a dumb game. That's my theory. But I do think the Dolphins might end up pulling it off. But it could go either way.
I am also going Dolphins. Sorry. Jesus Christ. I am also going Dolphins. Sorry, my laptop is blowing up. I'm like, what's happening? I'm going Dolphins. I'm going Dolphins because they're at home and they need to win.
Yeah.
That's reasoning. I guess I didn't say reasoning. I was just like Dolphins. So, score predictions. We play the Seahawks this week at home on Saturday, Christmas Eve. I hope to see lots of Santas.
Yes.
Christmas tree hats.
Right.
The light up Chiefs beanies. All those great, lovely things.
We just need a nice, stress-free Christmas Eve, Chiefs, please.
And it's definitely not going to be. I'm already.
I know.
What do you guys? Who wins? What's the score?
I'm going with 31-24.
No, you didn't.
Is that what you're doing?
Hi.
I'm in my coat.
Oh, yeah. It's cold out there.
My jacket.
We're live.
I also have the Chiefs winning. Chrissy took my prediction. I also said 31-24. Blah, blah.
Mommy, who's it?
Okay. So mine is actually going to be really similar to that, but I'm going to go a little different since you guys have the same score prediction.
I looked at my phone like, for real, Chrissy?
For real. I'm going to go, obviously, with our Chiefs, but I'm going to say 34-27. 34-27 Chiefs.
I think it could be that close. Like, I honestly think.
I think it will.
Like, I would not be surprised if we won by a field goal.
Yeah.
God, I hope not. I hope it doesn't come down to us kicking.
Speaking of drama with field goals and punters and all of that stuff, I just think
get into it.
They just need to. I mean, I don't know what the drama is with Dustin Colquitt chiming in and like kind of talking trash on Tommy Townsend on the sports radio today, and then
it's
we don't need this kind of drama right now. Like
the tweets were spicy too. I said, "Ooh."
like, why are we doing this? Like, just let our guys play. Let them figure it out.
I like punter drama. They need to figure it out.
Yeah.
I tweeted about this. I said, get Bucker off my team. And then I thought about it, and I was like, okay, he is one of the best kickers in the league behind.
I know. He really is.
Nice. But those three, they need to figure it out immediately. Like, immediately. Like, I don't
want to cost us in the
playoffs. This season.
Just,
regular season, playoffs. I don't want to see anything. Those three need to figure it out immediately.
And maybe this will be the little kick in their step that they need, you know? Like, this is the little punch in the gut. Like, come on. Like, don't be embarrassed. You're getting embarrassed on Twitter now. Like, just figure it out.
Yeah, Chiefs Kingdom is not happy with the special teams.
We can't quite decipher who's at fault here. Maybe it's all three of you, but
get it together.
Wilson, Winchester, please just get it together.
Figure it out, please.
Because we need those extra points when they matter.
They do matter.
We would not have gone
where
to
the points are made up and they don't matter. They matter. So please stop missing.
And then, so I do want to say before we close out here, we are going to be on the Concerns Chiefs podcast tomorrow. We are super excited about that. We're joining our guys over there. So please tune into that. We will post all the information on that on our Twitters and all of that good stuff. And with our old former tight end, Mr. Jason Dunn over there. So that's exciting. And then, so we're going to be joining them tomorrow. Catch us live tomorrow at, I believe it's again at 7 p.m. Central.
No,
well,
isn't it?
8? No, it's 7
Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
So we're super excited about that. Marcus and Jason. That's going to be a lot of fun. So cannot wait for that. And Chrissy, take us out.
So before I completely take us out, you guys, I want you guys to remember we are 11-3. We are in the playoffs. We have clinched our division. There were times, guys, I'm going to show you my shirt. Hold on. Do you guys see that? This back in 2016, they made hoodies because we made the playoffs. Okay. We just expect that nowadays. So just remember how blessed we are to be as Chiefs fans. And remember, yes, there are things we need to do to clean up, but we are 11-3 and we need to be supporting our guys through and through. So
absolutely.
As always, we appreciate you guys joining us each and every week on the Kingdoms Queens. We go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Go follow us on @Kingdoms Queens on Twitter, and you'll find all the great places. And if you are still following our old YouTube channel, we have a new one. So make sure you have that one as well so you can see our new shows. Don't forget to go like and retweet our pinned post on our Twitter page. We are so close to announcing the winner for that giveaway, and it's going to be really exciting, guys. We're so excited. So the Chiefs take on the Seahawks this weekend, and I think I speak for all of Chiefs Kingdom when I say we'd love a comfortable win. It would be a beautiful Christmas present for all the support we show, all the money we spend on gear and merchandise. This would just be a fantastic present to us Chiefs. So please, let's get a comfortable win, tighten some things up, and maybe start seeing the return of some of our injured guys. So until next time, the Queens have spoken.
Bye, guys.
Bye.